FreeDOS includes a lot of great programs, but we can't include everything. And so what happens if you downloaded a zip file from a website somewhere and you want to, install it on FreeDOS? Well, there are a couple of different ways that you can install programs on FreeDOS without having to go through a package manager. So let me show you a couple of different ways to do that. So the first way you'd probably think about doing it is using the package manager itself, because that's why we include a package manager. And so if you wanted to do FD-impls, well, I'm on FreeDOS 1.2 base, and FreeDOS 1.2 base doesn't include FD-impls. So what do you do if you want to install a package, maybe from FreeDOS, but you don't have the FD-impls program? Well, if you go to the install CD-ROM, that's where I've got it's on the D drive for me. This is where all the packages are stored. So each of these directories contains a bunch of packages. So let's, for example, go into Edit, where I can see all the different editors. So here are all the different editors we include as part of FreeDOS 1.2, or rather editors we make available as part of 1.2. If I wanted to install Fed, well, I can do that myself on a command line. So all these are really just zip files. So that means I can examine them using the unzip command. If I wanted to see a list of files from a zip file, I just do unzip-l. And I'm going to do unzip-l on fed.zip. And you can see it's got a lot of different files in it, and actually too much for one screen. So if I pipe that into the more command, you can see I've got app info, which has a single file that is basically a package description file. Progs fed is where the program itself is installed. Source fed is where all the source code is installed. All packages on FreeDOS include source code in them as well. So if I do Control-C on this, let's say I want to extract just the program files for progs fed. I could do that using unzip. And if I wanted to extract just the program files and put them into a specific directory, but not have the progs fed stuff up in front, I can do that by doing what's called junking the paths, or -J will get rid of all the paths as it extracts the zip file. That's a handy thing I usually find to do. I can also, so I want to do unzip on fed.zip. Now, even though I'm junking the paths as I install or extract the zip file, I still need to tell it what files from the zip file to extract. Otherwise, it's going to extract everything. So in this case, I want to extract progs fed and then everything inside that directory. So star.star. And where do I want to install it? Well, if I hit return right here, it's going to try to extract this on the CD-ROM. Well, the CD-ROM is read-only, so that won't work. So I need to actually give it a destination using -D. That's a destination. And I want to put it to C:\fed. Let's put it there. Let's hit return on that. And now it's going to extract just those couple of files. And now let's go into the C drive, and then into fed. And those are the files. And now I could run fed. And that's great about DOS, is that unlike Linux, where you have to have certain paths for things, FreeDOS, or actually any DOS, everything is what's called statically linked. So you can actually just extract it and run it really anywhere you want. Paths don't really matter that much. It may assume some paths for data, things like that, but in terms of running the program itself, no, it doesn't really need to have those paths there. So that's one way that you can install a package without having to go through FD-impls. Well, what if you downloaded a program? Let's say you downloaded something. I have a couple of those in my temp directory, so I'll go to temp. And I've got the shareware version of Doom, and I've got Post-Apocalyptic Petra. So these might be two games you might want to play. Again, they're downloaded as zip files, so you can use unzip to examine them. So we'll do an unzip-l on Doom 19s.zip. Now, some zip files will include everything you need to run the program. You can just unzip it in a location and just run it from there. Other programs like the shareware version of Doom, it's too big to install on a single floppy, and that was how a lot of files were shared back then. You can see that the file itself is 2.4 megs in size. So if I wanted to put this on a floppy, it's going to be too big. So they actually have it broken up into a couple of different files that will fit neatly on a single each one on a single floppy, and that's why Doom 19.1 and Doom 19.2 are there, because each one of those are two files that get glued together to make a single self-extracting file. You'll actually see that if we actually run it. So let's go ahead and unzip the Doom 19s.zip package, and we'll put this into a directory under the temp directory. We'll just put it into Doom, and so this is extracting it under temp Doom, and it's gonna you can see it's extracting the files, and once it's done, there we go. I'm going to go into the Doom directory, and it's now extracted the files from the zip file, and now I can just run the install program. And want to say, yep, I'm going to install this to C. So I'll do C. And where I put things into, I'll put it into the Doom S directory. And it doesn't exist, so I want to go ahead and say yes to create it. And you can see here now it's extracting the contents of each of the those disks. Disk 1 and disk 2 are the .1 and .2 files. Now it's going to glue them together into that Doom S19.exe. And now the install program is actually extracting the contents of that what's called a self-executable zip file. And so once it extracts everything, the install program is actually going to bring me into the setup program. I don't need to have, I don't need to play that as part of this demo. I just wanted to show how to install it. But this is the first thing you do. You actually would get the setup program to actually set up your sound and everything else. Let's go ahead and escape out of this because I don't need to show that as part of what we're doing here. But we've actually successfully installed Doom using the zip file that we downloaded. So let's go back into the temp directory, and let's look at one other example that you might have downloaded. So Petra is another one of these that you might have downloaded, and that is an example of everything you need to run the program is in the zip file itself. So I do it again. I want to examine the zip file using unzip -L because I want to list the contents of that file. And there's Petra 99g.zip. And you can see it's got a lot of different files in it. And you can see at the bottom here, it's got petra.exe. And so that's one way I'd know that I could just extract this and run it somewhere. Let's go ahead and unzip petra99g.zip, and we'll put it into the destination of C:, we'll put it under Petra. And you can see that's, oops, it just extracted, it didn't actually extract anything. So let's go ahead and get rid of the -L. Now it's going to extract the zip file. And file out to extract. And there we are. So let's go into Petra. And that's how you would install post-apocalyptic Petra. And you can now run the Petra program, and actually that'll run the game itself. So that's a couple different ways that you can install programs on FreeDOS without having to go through the package manager. And so I'll pause there. Before I go this week, this channel is supported through Patreon. And so thank you everyone who's supporting me on Patreon. Some of you are supporting me at a higher level, and I wanted to thank you here. Thank you very much for your support. Visit our website at freedos.org. Join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you.